All right, my friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining me once again. Today, I want to share 3 things with you that I hope you'll find inspirational and thought-provoking. A couple of years ago, I had heard that at the Polk Museum of Art right here in Lakeland had or was going to have an Auguste Rodin exhibit on display. Now, if you don't know who Rodin is, let me tell you. He was a late 19th century, early 20th century artist and sculptor. And I had heard of his name. I don't know much about art, I'll admit. I don't really know much about a lot of things. But I'd heard his name, and I looked up some pictures, and I thought, oh wow, okay, I recognize some things, like the statue called The Thinker. Or certainly you know what that is, right? You've seen him, where he's kind of sitting on a pedestal, leaning forward slightly, and he's got his fist on his chin. That's his work, and he has many reproductions all over the world. So I went to the museum, I toured the exhibit, and I made some video, took some pictures. I'm really glad I did. I was just in awe of the majesty of this man's work. And I had thoughts that went through my mind that probably went through everybody else's, and that is, how is one able to do such a thing? Like, how long does it take? Is this just a God-given talent? What kind of discipline do you have to have, and where do you get the inspiration? Okay, where do you get that from? How do you start? How do you know when you approach the clay or the marble or whatever it is you're going to chip away at? How do you know where to make the lines and what to do? I mean, it's incredible to me, and I'm sure you've had those same kind of thoughts before when you hear classical compositions by Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, whoever, or looked at great works of architecture, and you think, how does one come up with this stuff? Where do you start? How do you know what to do? Well, while I was there, I went into the gift shop, and at that time, they were offering a book there, and it's called You Must Change Your Life, written by Rachel Corbett. Now, I'm going to leave a link for this book down below. It's really, really good. I'm going to read it again. This is about the story of Rainer Maria Rilke and Auguste Rodin. Now, they became really good friends. Rodin was a mentor to Rilke, who was a poet. Okay? Those two things don't really have a lot in common, but they became fast friends, and Rilke learned a lot from Rodin. But I want to share something with you here I found on page 92. All right? Here's what it says. I need to put my glasses on for this. All right. If you've ever wondered how these people do what they do, here's what it says. Rodin did not await inspiration for some pure expression to flow from his soul onto passive materials, as Rilke had always done. Now, we oftentimes think this is what has to happen. We have to wait for inspiration to occur, and then we act. Or we have to have these feelings. We have to get in the mood. We have to have some kind of a muse. And apparently this is kind of how Rilke operated. But Auguste Rodin did not. It says, so to Rodin, God was too great to send us direct inspiration. Now that's a thought. Instead, it was up to the artist to create earthly angels. That's why Rodin approached unformed clay without knowing what exactly would result, like a worm working its way from point to point in the dark. That seems very unorganized, doesn't it? But wait. He would grab hold of it with his huge hands, work it over, spit on it, and come to know it entirely, energizing the object and stirring it to life in the process. Rilke wrote, "The creative artist has no right to select. His work must be imbued with a spirit of unyielding dutifulness." So this is very contrary to how I have personally always thought. You know, when I've tried to make videos, you're creating videos, you're creating content. That's what they call us, content creators, right? We're doing something that we hope that we'll be proud of, something that we can breathe life into. that we can be proud of as we look out over a body of work. This is just what I do. What do you do? If you do something creative or artistic, put it down in the comments below. I would love to know what it is. And I don't think most of us really have a wide swath of things we can do. You do have those rare people that can do many things in a wonderful way. But most of us might have one or two things that we can do. And you may even believe that you don't have anything. You might have been convinced by yourself or by somebody else that you're not good at anything. But the truth is, you might not have just risked it and applied your hand to something without knowing what you were going to do, where you were going to go, where you were going to chip and chisel. And that might have been what made all the difference in the world. If you want to become good at something, sometimes you just have to start not knowing where you're going to go, what you're going to do, or what the final outcome is going to be. Whatever it is you have in mind, just apply yourself. We oftentimes believe we have to have this structure, and in many cases there are systems set in place. Like if you want to become a great pianist, there are systems that teachers have. They teach you in a certain way. And then there are people who taught themselves, knew nothing about it, and became just these marvels in their field, right? And we wonder, how in the world does that happen? They broke all the rules. They broke the molds, so to speak. And sometimes that's what it takes. You may not have the advantage of having someone to mentor you. You may not have the advantage of having the foresight or the vision of what it is you want to see in the end. Or maybe you do know what you want the outcome to be. But sometimes things change. Sometimes you have to apply spit to it. You have to mold it. You have to get to know what it is you're doing in the process. That's how it happens a lot of times. I just don't think we hear about it very often. And we're convinced that this is really just for something else. But can you imagine getting to the end of your life and looking back over the body of work that you've created and saying, I did that. And you know what? Most of the time, I didn't even know where it was going. I think that's what happens in many cases. I'll tell you something. The exhibit, Rodin's exhibit was pretty interesting. Oversized hands and bodies and whatnot. And I learned a lot about his work in this. And these people, man, I tell you what, we think that they're so different, but I don't think that they're different than most of us. Most of us. I really don't. So what is it that you want to do? What have you had a dream about? Maybe it's so far off in the distance now because you gave up on a long time ago. Start thinking about it now. Start thinking about what could I do? It doesn't have to be something that you have to be overly committed to. You might pick up something, a paintbrush, a piano book, a bow and arrow. Who knows what? You might pick something up and go, I think I want to do this. And you may realize in time it's not for you. You can do something else. But do something. Enjoy it. And don't believe that you have to know everything in advance. You don't have to know the outcome. You just have to enjoy working it out. Getting to know what it is that you're involved with and learning about it in the process. I'm going to share a quote with you, and I want you to think about who might have said this, because it seems or sounds kind of cruel. All right? Who do you think said this? Beethoven can write music, thank God, but he can do nothing else on earth. Who said that? I'll tell you. Ludwig van Beethoven himself. He did not believe that he really could do anything else other than what he did. And it must have plagued him to some degree for him to have even said this, because he sounds somewhat, maybe, I don't know if this is the right word or not, but maybe somewhat resentful about the fact that this was the only thing he knew that he could do. But boy, did he do it well. And he did it even when he was deaf in time. but this is what happens. And I would be willing to bet that a lot of these musicians like him and Mozart and Bach probably had no idea where they were going. In many cases, they just sat down and said, hey, let's see what happens. And that's a good approach. That's a really good approach. Think about that. All right, let me share the word of the day with you. This is the third thing, the word of the day. And that is rara avis. I know, you probably never heard of it. You'll probably never use it. But it is in the dictionary. I didn't make this up. It's a Latin word. It came to use first in the year 1607. But it simply means a rare person or thing, a rarity. It's usually ascribed to birds, a rare bird. Yeah, in fact, I've often referred to certain people as rare birds. I would refer to Beethoven or Rodin as rare birds. They're anomalous. But here's the thing. These people were set apart. And I think that every single one of us has the ability to display and exhibit some kind of rarity that you may not even be aware of. And I think it will help you, I think it will allow you to enjoy life so much more. It will distinguish you. And I think every single one of us can do that. Okay? We can all be a rara avis. I know. It's not something I can use eloquently. It doesn't come across smooth, but I happened to see this in the dictionary and I thought it would fit well with today's material. But yeah, it's a rare person or a thing, a rarity. And you know, those things do stick out. Those things stick out. We remember them. What is it today that you want to start doing? Leave a comment down below. Check the description likewise. I'm so thankful that each and every one of you have listened to me all the way through. And I hope you subscribe and check out all my other videos. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll catch you in the next one. In the meantime, be wise.